Hi witches! Greetings and welcome to a witch's guide to new moons. As you guys know, I love talking about lunations, new moons, all sorts of good stuff, and this year I really wanted to go back and standardize all of my videos. I know I talk about lunar magic a lot, but it's literally one of my favorite topics. So I'm also using this kind of as a project for myself to go back into my grimoire and update all of my own notes. And I am hopefully, I know I keep saying I'm gonna show you guys, but like my art is just like I just am self-conscious about it. So it's taking me a little bit of time to like really feel comfortable putting it on the internet, but I'm hoping very, very soon I'll be showing you guys some really cool stuff. So stay tuned. Now, for today, we are going to be talking all about the new moon in Pisces. It is just in Pisces. That is occurring on Monday, February 20th. Now, a wonderful source for more information about the new moons and astrology in general is Chani Nicholas, who runs a really great blog that I have used for quick reference and for correspondences. So super good resource if you guys are interested in learning more. But a lot of what we're going to talk about today also comes from my personal experience in my grimoire. So I always like to make sure that that's clear and everyone knows what we're talking about, right? So the new moon in Pisces does not have a fancy name like some of our full moons do. So in order to figure out kind of the best way to utilize the energy surrounding this lunation, it's really important to look at the astrology. So in the title of this video, it is the new moon in Pisces. So this new moon falls in the sign of Pisces, which is a mutable water sign that is ruled by the planet of Neptune. Neptune is a planet that rules dreams and illusions. It is a very fluid type of energy, so it's really good to go with the flow. Neptune is also another, like the Roman name for Poseidon. So again, there's that kind of link to the element of water there, or the ocean as well. Now, Pisces is also the last sign in the zodiac. So with the sun moving into Pisces, it brings with it kind of like a sense of the ending of cycles and the beginning of new. So we are really focusing on a lot of rebirth, as well as focusing on confronting patterns, themes, or issues that we might have struggled with in the past that we want to overcome, if that makes sense. So Pisces asks us, again, really to go with the flow and to create space for new experiences in our lives. Pisces is represented by the figure of the fish, and I always kind of think of Dory from Finding Nemo whenever I think of Pisces and like her desire to just keep swimming, because near the end of winter, or Pisces season, end of winter, early spring, I am desperate for spring, but it is still so cold out. Oh my gosh. And it's just a really good way to remind myself not to give up yet. So this is your sign. Don't give up. Spring is almost here, I promise. New moons are also a time of new emotional cycles and of planting seeds for whatever we want to achieve in the upcoming month. So with this new moon, I encourage you to focus on ending cycles that you began around this time last year, whether that be just kind of like putting a final stamp on like the beautiful manuscript of your life, or just really making the commitment to get rid of a bad habit. I encourage you to do so during this new moon. I also want to mention that it is a fantastic time to get in touch with your emotions and establish healthy habits or boundaries for yourself along the way. Pisces sometimes asks us to take this big leap of faith, and in this way your spirituality may be coming to the forefront. So I encourage you to use this time to connect and just really set your own personal course. You guys got this. Now, all of that is well and good, but as you guys know, on this channel we like to talk about practical magic. So to review, let's talk about some of these spiritual intentions for this new moon and things that I encourage you to focus on. Of course, as with anything, your practice is your own, and these are just suggestions. So if you have other ideas, feel free to leave them down below. But primarily, I encourage you to focus on workings surrounding intuition, healing, emotional growth, the ending of things and the beginning of new things, or death and rebirth, as well as healing. Oh, I wrote healing on there twice, lol. But also erasing doubts and insecurities, or introspection. So big ups on the healing for sure for this moon. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is color magic, which is amazing for novice practitioners or practitioners who may not be able to openly practice. I totally understand. It's also really good for altar decor, so there's that as well. Now, I encourage you to look into the world around you for inspiration, looking at nature, seeing the colors that are starting to pop up around you. But when I go outside, I notice black and white, of course, and silver for the moon, as well as light blues, light yellows, light purples, and pinks. It is Valentine's Day when I'm filming this, so maybe I'm just a little bit nostalgic for that. But I have seen pictures of wildflowers starting to pop up, and I'm so excited. Next, let's chat about some of the symbols that you can use to similarly decorate your altar. So things such as lunar imagery, of course, fish or other sea creatures. So if you're like really into sharks or whales or stuff, for sure, include that. Seashells, pearls if you have them, or maybe even plastic representations of pearls, totally fine. Water imagery or just water itself on your altar, the chalice or the cauldron, something that can hold water, oceanic imagery, beach imagery, sand, as well as spiritually significant symbols and self-care items is what I would include on your altar. Now for the spellcrafters, the alchemists, the green witches, let's talk about herbs and crystals, shall we? Now, so in general, we want to select herbs that are associated with the spiritual correspondences of the workings that we're doing, but you might also want to select some that are, associated with the energy of the new moon. So herbs that I recommend using are herbs ruled by the element of water or by Neptune or possibly the moon for the emotional and intuition side of things. Examples of this include basil, mint, sage, oregano, pomegranates, peonies, figs, pears, the blue lotus, marshmallow, poppy, rose, thistle. I would also recommend mugwort or mullein, especially for opening the third eye and connecting with your intuition. As for crystals, we're going to use similar logic, maybe using color correspondences instead of the spiritual intentions or in conjunction with the spiritual intentions, but using things such as moonstone, opal, labradorite, pearl, citrine, amethyst, coral, shells, things that you find on the beach. Again, if you're going to be using coral, be sure it's like ethically sourced because I know the reefs are dying, so just be careful with that. But beyond that, just use what you have in stock. I know you got this. Now, finally, let's use all of these tools and apply them to the magical world, shall we? The new moon in Pisces primarily is a time of healing. So if this has been a very stressful time of year, I feel like everyone that I have talked to has had some sort of conflict, especially that like came to a head during the full moon or in the last week. So I don't know if that is like myself included. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that, but Pisces is the time to rest, right? We're talking about rest and rebirth before spring. Take some time, pause, catch your breath. It's all good. Take that time to heal those things that need to be healed in order for you to succeed in the future. Next, I encourage you to connect with your intuition, which I understand is sometimes easier said than done. So if you haven't, maybe dust off your tarot cards or pick up your pendulum if you haven't done that in a hot second. So if you're going to be doing some divination, perhaps this is the day to do it, right? I encourage you to focus on the element of water. If you are lucky to live near a body of water, maybe going to visit it, whether that is going to the beach. I know it's a little bit cold right now, but going to the beach, maybe even getting into the water if it is warm enough for you, maybe having that kind of sense of rebirth from coming out of the ocean. I know I always feel like so much better whenever I get to go to the beach. It's so cool. I love going to the beach. A really great way to combine earth and water magic is, of course, making yourself a nice hot cup of tea, maybe using some of the herbs that we talked about earlier, or if you wanted to, take it to the next level, making a simmer pot with herbs that match your intentions for the year ahead. So again, carrying on some of that Imbolc work. Now, I know in my Imbolc video, I talked about like how you don't have to just celebrate on one day, and I think this is a really good example of how you can still engage with some of these energies, even if we aren't necessarily celebrating the holiday, if that makes sense. And finally, I encourage you guys to really just take this final time for some introspection and really take time to erase any doubts that you have, set those boundaries, and start working on breaking either bad habits or implementing new habits for the year ahead. The weather's gonna start getting warm. I know I keep saying that. I feel like I keep saying that. I'm so excited. I can like feel it in my bones. So I encourage you guys to kind of just figure out, maybe set your course for the year ahead during this new moon, really set those intentions and allow Pisces to open up those emotions for you and allow them to flow out. This is the time to cry. If you're gonna cry, it's all good. I love to cry, honestly. I do it every day. But I encourage you guys to, again, really connect with your emotions and really set your course for the rest of the year. Again, it's the year of the Chariot. All of that fiery energy is behind you to encourage you to move forward. All you have to do is rest perhaps long enough to see how to direct it in your life. So hopefully that is helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.